Right, hello and welcome. I'm gonna summarize the March Q&A. This Q&A was big. It is massive. I mean, we got a roadmap covering the next 3-4 years of Crowfall development. This is really something. I definitely want to check that out. Hunger Dome is coming. I'll cover that. We have crafting changes incoming. The new March reward mount is epic. But let's have the usual self-advertisement, and then I'm gonna summarize all the relevant stuff for you. So, yeah, hello. If you like my content, please hit the subscribe button. If you're thinking about buying Crowfall, go to my website crusaderw.com. You'll find the link below in the description. There you're gonna find a 10% discount code. And also, if you have any questions, feel free to drop by on my Twitch channel. I'm often streaming Crowfall. I'm happy to answer all your questions or ask me directly on Discord. And now let's jump to the video.
And welcome to another edition of the Artcraft Crowfall Q&A, where we take questions from you and we answer them. Only this time it's going to be a little different. We've got a lot to talk about today.
Alright, so quick and easy. We're gonna get a Drax today. That's the first interesting news. Another, just to spoil the beans in the beginning, we will get the Hunger Dome and stuff on test in the next couple of days. This will be the second topic that we cover. And now we start with the roadmap. So the roadmap basically starts here. We're gonna get optimizations. The game is already quite playable. It needs some optimizations for the really large-scale fights still, but on Hunger Dome, from what I've seen already from the game will work like a charm. It will be playable, it will be fun. 60 people in small 5 versus 5 versus 5 and so on fights of 12 teams. That's gonna be dope. That's gonna work like a charm. Then we're gonna get factory. So basically, if you craft a regular item in the factories, you will be able to create copies of that item. How that's gonna work? You put the original game in, then you can push out copies if you put the, of course, the required materials into the factory, and that will consume the durability on the item. And of course, you can't make a copy of a copy. So once that item is gone and you pushed as many copies of it out as you need, you will have to make a new base item. The tournament arena, which is the Hunger Dome, we're gonna cover that next after the roadmap. Increased storage, they're gonna add some new chests for vassals with different access rights and stuff. This is to make the Eternal Kingdoms seamlessly working together. Then we're gonna see some disciplines rework, of course, balancing and curating, so tweaking some numbers, maybe changing little things here and there, maybe adding some stuff, removing some stuff we don't have advancement changes. This looks like the whole, okay, you get a discipline through RNG and then you combine 3 of the green ones into the blue ones. I think this will go for crafting, for harvesting, maybe also for the combat disciplines as well, and the soul binding will be just for disciplines because this will give them a mechanic that they want before they give us the option to unequip discipline. So if you have a blue discipline on your character and you want to make an epic one, you don't have to throw 1 blue away, but you just need 2 other blue. Take the 3rd blue one out, combine them and put them back in. Of course, this will work different in the future when they change the advancement. This is why they want the soul binding of discipline. So once you equip a discipline, it will be bound to your character. Then a handshake system for siege. So this will work something like that. So today I come to your keep and I say, hey, we want to siege you tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. And then you can decide, okay, at what time is the siege going to be? So this obviously solves the problem that there is a siege coming up from the schedule, you go there to defend and then nobody is showing up and you're just like waiting 15 minutes, destroying the bane trees, duh. Next one, the Shadow rule set. So this will basically be a 3-faction with the rule set of a campaign. So higher reward nodes and mobs and better loot, but not as high rewards as you have them in Drags, and it will be a limited time. So let's say you will go through the season, it's going to be a month or 2 months or 2 weeks or whatever. They want to add import restrictions for equipment only, so you can only import equipable items with your import tokens, so no more importing building materials and rushing up a keep on the first day, or importing gold so you can buy a seed, you know, like what the game we play at the moment when a campaign starts. Everybody logs in real quickly, imports a stack of gold, then buys the seed, and whoever is fastest in running to a keep gets the keep. That's boring, nobody wants that, so this is very cool. And of course they need the collector's edition and the backer rewards, and then they will be ready for release. So my educated guess is that a Crowfall release within the next 4 to 6 months is doable and possible. I mean, of course, it depends on how long it takes them to get all the changes in. With 6.500 and 6.600, so 6.500 will be the Hunger Dome patch with some class rebalancing, I hope, or I guess. Then 6.600 will probably be the big crafting loft rework. Maybe we're gonna see some discipline changes there already. And then once that other stuff is done, and from my understanding, as far as I understand it, I'm pretty sure we will see the release of Crowfall this year, and then the game is in a state where it's playable and we can slowly start growing the player base and introducing more people. So next is gonna be the midterm changes, so those will happen after release, and then basically to get the game into a stage where they say, okay, now we can work on all those quality of life things, like the UI, for example. This is going to be on the next slide, but I think this is what a lot of people hope for. The skin system, stealth and tracking. So stealth being, we all know stealth at the moment has its issues, and everybody is aware of them who's playing it on a daily basis, but they will fix it, and tracking will be, hey, a player walked by here 2 minutes ago, and I can figure out where he went, so you can follow up on people and sneak up and gank them and stuff. Then a universal PvP leaderboard, so basically, bragging rights, figuring out who is the best player and that kind of stuff. Then they want to redo the caravans, because caravans give us the building materials, but they could be more fun. That's what Shadowed Coleman said. I think it's cool that they want to work on that. We're gonna have the campaign changes, free building in Drags. I mean, they need a lot of tech for it, which they have to build from the ground up, but then you can actually place your walls and your buildings yourself. So it's not like, okay, I have to choose between building A, B, and C, and the walls are basically set. But you can build your own layout of keeps and stuff using building materials. That would be so cool. Building decay, so you probably have to repair that kind of stuff after some time. The siege weapons, they want to redo the parcel-to-parcel interaction, so probably like what happens if a wall lives on 2 different parcels, you know, like you have like W26 and W27. So what happens if something overcrosses those 2 parcels? They probably need some tech to build for that it's somehow related to the building systems. And then items and vendors, so buy orders that you can say, hey, oh my god, I need, I don't know, cutting grid, and I don't want to farm it myself. So you can put it in your vendor, and if people get cutting grid, they can come to your vendor and sell it to you because you put a buy order in your vendor. They also want to change the currencies on vendors from gold to dust or whatever. I don't know, skulls, probably stuff that is stackable. A vassal tax system, so if you have an EK and you allow other people to put your vendors in there, you can get tax from whatever they sell. Some bags, proc items, so you know, like a weapon has this ability, when you hit somebody you have a chance to do this awesome proc, like set them on fire on your fire sword or something. That's cool. Now let me go to the next slide. Okay, here. Races and classes expansion. So they want to do crossover weapon specialization for classes. So let's say a Frost Weaver that can wear a longsword. What's blocking us most from that at the moment is just they have to make the animations for it. All the other stuff is probably a bit more easy, but that's why it's in the midterm list. They want to have more equipment variety, so maybe different styles, dyeing and colorization options on the armors, discipline items, whatever those are. Like probably a discipline allows you to wear, like the J. Todd brought the example of if you are a witch wizard or a witch, you can wear the fancy witch hat, but only the witch can wear this particular hat. They want to add the 12th class, and they also want to expand the list of available race class combinations. They don't want to do all-to-all, but again here, the animations need to make their way in the game, so we're gonna have to wait for that. Then they want to add a lot more disciplines and increase variability. So they think about some shape-shifting stuff like transforming into a werewolf, flight, summon monsters as a necromancer, different weapon styles, racial abilities, racial disciplines, maybe even, I don't know. Rule set, so they're thinking about basically like a persistent Drags campaign, which would then be like what we have in Infected today, but maybe with full loot, or with no loot, but it's guild versus guild. So you can do that progression stuff and you can get better stuff and run into stronger enemies, but it's not as high reward and as high risk as a proper Drags. They're also thinking about doing some guild or alliance caps. They don't want to do this now because it would basically saying to some players like KDS is going to be a pretty big guild when this releases, and they restrict it to 20 people max. A guild with 100 people is just going to be, yeah, you can't play this game at the moment, or at least not with all your friends, and that sucks. So that's why they're saving it for later. Then we have one campaign where the Zergs can run around, and we have one campaign where the smaller groups, I don't know, 10, 20 people can fight against each other. More victory cards, experimental rules like different respawn rules, different route rules, different group size, friendly fire, and last but not least the UI customizations, which I already mentioned. So I think those changes we will see on a time frame of like 1 to 1.5 years after launch, and then we're gonna have the long term changes, which are new biomes like swamps, jungles, new architectures in those biomes, so different houses and type of stuff like Elter, Elkin, Stoneborn, Minotaur, Centaur, animal and creature taming, new campaign types, things related to the gods, so more god-related glory cards, relic revamps, where he mentioned that you maybe find this relic and you have to physically carry it back to your keep, and then you put it there and it gives you certain perks and buffs and stuff, but people can sneak in and steal it. And also like daily, personal, weekly quests or divine favor cards or something like that. So that was it so far for the roadmap, and we have some more things to say about that.
We pulled out some of the stuff here from early days, like linking kingdoms and things like that.
For sure, definitely on the long term.
And remember, when we talk about short term, midterm, and long term, the short term is pre-launch and immediately around our launch window, right? Yep. Which is rapidly approaching, which is why we bucketed these things. Midterm is further out, and long term is much further out. Right. These are things that we've not forgotten about, things that we want to get to, and I think it's a great list.
So I will say that the medium term is important, though, because usually the pattern that we've seen is MMOs don't really come into their own at launch. That's just kind of the general model, right? Is MMOs spend the first year getting their legs underneath them, getting enough of a player community, listening to that player community, and that will start to focus the next round of things that you make. I mean, my last MMO that I worked on didn't really become huge until a year after launch, right? The first year was relatively quiet. And then a year in, we crossed the 1 million registered players line. And then from there, it just really took off. But that's the model that we've seen, especially with PvP games, right? Albion was kind of small at the beginning and it picked up steam. Eve was relatively small at the beginning and picked up steam. So that's kind of the same model that I expect. So that medium-term list is actually pretty critical, because that's, to me, is once we've got a baseline, now we start to actually put in some pieces that we've always wanted and we just never really had the time to get to. And I think that's where we start it starts to get even more exciting. So I'm excited. I'm excited to put the list together, frankly. Like I said, I've been thinking about what's right in front of us for so long that going back and looking through my old notes and being like, oh yeah, I still do really want to do that. That's cool. It's exciting. It's actually fun. It's nice to look up and see the horizon again. So
all right, so let's talk about what's coming next, immediately next. In fact,
okay, yeah, what's coming next? I give you the short version. Within the next couple of days, like they said, we will get the Hunger Dome on test server. I can't wait to get my hands on that, and let's jump straight into me explaining you what the Hunger Dome is and how it works. So, long story short, from a design perspective, the Hunger Dome is supposed to be a battle royale in Crowfall style, so an MMO and a MOBA. So you're gonna have that arena where you can just take a pre-built character, jump in and run around Fortnite style, loot chests, kill mobs, gear up, and then you fight your way to the death. 12 teams, sorry I don't have 12 fingers, and 5 people in each team, and they're gonna fight each other to the death. So, actually, let me show you the teaser real quick, and then I'll go through it again real quick and explain the mechanics.
So that's the castle, the center with the vortex. There's the play button. That's the team roster where you can go in and select your character. And there's the archetypes. This is, you can see this is the map with all of the things. I mean, this version of the map, they were all claimed by a test faction. But you run around, you claim these locations. This part will all look very familiar to you. All through this map, we've scattered things like Chest and Stoneborn Ruins and Hungry Villages. And there's your scoreboard at the end where it shows the teams in rank, who they were eliminated by, how long they lasted, and then off to the right is the players on that team where they fell. And then at the end, towards the end of the map, the hunger actually slows down to buy you a little bit of time in this last kind of what we call the basketball court-sized arena, where it gets winnowed down to just the winning team.
So at least what we've got now is it's a circular map, and we have the 12 god statues along the edge. And each team starts at one of these statues. Now, you'll notice that little ring there. That is the hunger. And so the hunger will start to shrink over time, sort of driving you towards the center, right? Now, there are forts, keeps, and eventually a castle in the middle that players can capture.
Okay, so now my 5 cents to the Hunger Dome. I'll try to condense everything and maybe leave some information out. I'm gonna give you more detailed information once I get my hands on this on test, which should be in the next couple of days. So here you see the map. Ray already explained like the respawn statues and the hunger that's closing in. We all know this from Battle Royale games. Then you have 8 forts that can be taken, which then act as respawn outposts. And then once you get further condensed in, it will be 4 keeps, and then at the end the one big castle. And the winning team is obviously the last team standing, so when you die and you don't have a respawn statue, you're out. So this is basically the whole Crowfall experience condensed and compacted down, throwing away the harvesting and the crafting, and just giving you the end game XP experience, which will drive a lot of people in the game and hopefully will get people hooked on this. So yeah, also out in the world you're gonna find chests with unique gear. They tuned up the curve, so since you can participate in this with every vessel, if you have a legendary vessel, you of course have a slight advantage of up to 50 points of your 2 primary stats to somebody who has just a white vessel. But the gear is more powerful, and I think the progression curve is steeper than we see it in the campaign and the rest of the game, so this should even out. And they also said that they're gonna add some cool items that you will never find in-game, like a ring with stealth detect, or a necklace that prevents fall damage, or crazy weapons. I don't know, but they will use this as a test ground and give us funny and interesting items. Then next, the team up screen, so you can either use an existing character that is at least level 30, or if you're completely new to the game and you haven't played it at all, or you just you want to try a different character, you can always go to an archetype, which is like a pre-created character that already has disciplines and stuff. Of course, you can invite your buddies to the Hunger team, and unvacated slots will be filled up with randoms. So what else is there to say? Yeah, they said they played it, so one round should last up to 30 minutes. If people die faster, they die faster. That's fine, and they have put a lot of thought in this, and I think this will be very, very interesting, very fast-paced, very action-loaded, very interesting for watching on stream, so I'll probably play this a lot when it comes out on stream.
We have put a few restrictions on already in terms of what a team can be made of. We do not allow you to have more than 2 tanks, we do not allow you to have more than 2 support, and we do not let players repeat a promotion class. So those are our 3 restrictions right now, though we may change those. That's just where we're at right now. It's interesting because it is, in a large way, it's basically a super condensed version of Crowfall on steroids, right? And it does have persistence, but the characters that you bring in are cloned versions of your characters. So anything that happens to them there does not then reflect back onto the original characters. So we'll say that there is a fear that some people will bring up of, well, what if people are always in this and they're not in the dregs, or they're not going to join the campaigns as a result. And that is a concern, but the goal of this is to increase the overall number of players dramatically. Right? Frankly, we have to do that for launch, and this was part of our answer to do that, is how are we going to go and get a much, much larger group of players than just the community that we have right now. We love you guys, and you're awesome, but we need more of you. And so this was our way of doing that, is it opens up the game with an entry point that is super casual and super easy and super appealing, I think. And then from that, as people get into it, they're going to want to customize their character. They're going to. I already felt it. The second I got in, I was like, why the hell did you choose this, Ray? And he's like, that's what I put on the archetype. I'm like, well, I don't like it. He's like, well, then go make your own character.
Go make your own, yeah.
Individual game scoring, because that's necessary, right? We keep track of what your rank is, both of your team and your individual rank on completing each of these matches. And we do have an ELO score that we're going to track and we're going to use for matchmaking purposes, because we want to actually have people able to go up and down. Longer term, we need to grow that. Right now, it's only Hunger Dome specific because we needed it for Hunger. It was kind of minimum viable for Hunger Dome, is we need to put people in appropriate matches. Longer term, we need to actually extend that out to be a full leaderboard system with ranks. I want it for Hunger Dome and I want for the campaigns. Like, we need to actually have a career progression or career profile, if you will. But it's not something that we had immediately. We just didn't have time. So anyway, I'm excited about this. I think it adds something really nice to our overall loop. I think my goal is for it to reinforce the MMO loop and be additive to it. and also give a really nice entry for new people to get in. And you guys have been asking now for an arena and tournament system. So, and we do have more of the tournament parts of the tournament system that we haven't talked about yet. We'll save that for another Q&A.
Nice.
All right. So, how was that, Blair? It's the kind of thing where it's just a big info dump. What did we forget?
Lots of little edge case questions, but I mean mainly balance concerns, things like that. Do I bring my disciplines into my character? Are the talents already spent? Yeah, it is a clone of the character.
The clone of your character, only without the equipment. You start with crappy newbie equipment. Actually, the same stuff that you start a brand new character with. So you don't come in and have to run around and punch things. And this I will say is a shortcutted this entire session.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool. I don't think there's anything more to say regarding Hunger Dome, so let's jump to the next topic. Yeah, so the crafting got some love. So like you can see here on the screen, we have a new layout. We now have everything like the item itself, the experimentation and the added risk, and then also the rerolls all in one screen. And they also colored the roles, so an great success and the medium success and great success. They are all color coded with white common, green uncommon, blue, purple, and orange up to legendary. So the better you roll, the better your color gets. And this is a very cool change. I am looking forward to this. Yeah, they're also adding those little relics to the EKs. This statue, for example, gives you a buff that you don't that your gear doesn't lose durability when you're skirming in EK. They also added some other backer stuff. I mean, they're really getting there where they're now adding all the assets that they have been promised to backers, because those need to be done before release. So to actually them delivering all the stuff that they promised. This is amazing. I'm really looking forward to this. And so, yeah, this is good. And let's jump to the next topic.
So speaking of which, there's another one that we should hit before we get off, but that's dodges, charged power.
Why does my charge let me use it twice and sometimes take a long cooldown? This is because when we built the dodge pip system, we used the resource system, which ticks at a server rate, and you could get lucky and use a resource and instantly get a regen.
Explain what that means.
Okay, so what this means is, you remember how in the past the dodge was on a global timer? So when you hit the dodge and you were lucky, the global timer just basically generated a dodge pip for you, and then you could have a 20-meter dodge, which is actually on a 20-second cooldown, but you immediately get another dodge. Now the dodge has his own closed system, so that means you dodge and you actually really have to wait 20 seconds. This is the short version. If you're interested in the long version, check out my channel. I have the long version of the Q&A on my channel as well, the commented version. Probably by now when you're watching this, they will already have uploaded the full version, clean, without me and the KDS boys doing some comments and stuff. But yeah, that's the story with the dodges. And last but not least, we get for backing the game, if you've backed the game in March until the 24th, so you can still get this reward. You get the black and red spider mount in KDS colors. I love this one. This is really cool. So bye from my side. See you soon. And Todd and Blair will say goodbye. And yeah.
Thanks for coming in, and we will see you in game, and hopefully see you soon in Hunger Dome as well.
Thanks everybody for coming out.
Cool.
Bye,
All right.
everybody.
Thank you very much.
Bye.